Dear students, welcome to the course HS1317 Introduction to Metaphysics of Sanskrit Language. This is lecture 5. As in the previous lectures, I have already explained you few of the points, that is what is language, difference between Bhāṣya, Vāk and Vādi, spoken and compositional language, and in this topic we have gone through first, second, third, fourth. So, in the last lecture, I just ended here for explanation of the modes of classification of the Shastra, and we have already studied a lot of the things related with the classification, or you can say the mode of classification of the Shastra. Now we are going to enter the next one, that is 8 primary sciences other than the Vedic corpus. So, in the circles we have Ashtadasha Vidya Sthanani, 18 primary sciences, and then we are having these 64 allied sciences. So, the rest of the 64 allied sciences as well as the rest of the sciences other than the Vedic corpus in the Ashtadasha Vidya Sthanani, they are left to be understood. So, we are beginning the discourse from the same. We stopped in the last lecture here, like in figure 1.7, what does Krita means? Krita means creative knowledge, that is Kavya. Now we are going to understand the rest of the 8 primary sciences other than the Vedic corpus. So, if Vedic corpus consists of the 4 Vedas, Rik, Yajur, Sama, Ved, Sama, Atharva, 4 Vedas, then 6 Vedangas. After that, we have Purāṇas, and I explained that there is a difference between Itihas and Purāṇ. Itihas explains how the particular kind of event has happened, Itihasaha, and Purāṇ deals with the Itihas of longer period of time, not of the shorter span, or you can say Itihas is dealing with that kind of narration which is available in the 4 yugas of a single Chatur Yugi, cycle of the 4 yugas. When I will teach in detail the concept of time and space, I will explain that Indian understanding has an opinion that reality is cyclic, and with the reality, as time is a part or a constituent of the reality, it is also cyclic. So, we have the cycle of 4 yugas, Satyug, Treta, Dwapar, Krita. In the same way, we have other cycles also, which are much more longer than this one cycle of 4 yugas. So, repeatedly we are in the cycle of the 4 yugas, and this is happening continuously. So, once we deal with the single cycle of the 4 yuga, that becomes itihas in our corpus. And when we deal with so many of the cycles, when 71 times this the cycle of the 4 yugas goes, then it becomes one manvantar. एक मनवंतर में 71 बार चतुर्युगी हो जाती है. अगर इतनी बड़ी साइकिल को डील करना है, इतना बड़ा लॉन्गर पीरियड ऑफ टाइम को एड्रेस करना है, then we have the corpus which is understood as Purāṇ. So, Purāṇ is that corpus of Itihas which deals with the narrations belonging to the much grand or longer period of time, maybe more than 71 times of the Chaturyugi also, because after Manvantar also we have the concept of Kalpa. So, when we will deal with the structure or the concept of time, we would be able to understand what Purāṇas are dealing with. That is why sometimes it becomes a habit of understanding our history, or you can say our itihasa, as a mythology, but mythology term has myth. Myth is something which is understood as a false understanding or false narration or an imagination, but it is not applicable to our systems, because Purāṇ does not deal with the myth. It is not imaginative, it is not a creative one, and that is why the evidence, if you think like how we should accept this fact that Purāṇ are not the myth, it is not mythology. So, whenever you get a time, you read the Purāṇ, just select any one randomly as per your own interest. When you read it, then you will find that the narrations are having a complete systematic presentation of specified events with a proper referencing of date, time, place, name. And this cannot be on the cannot be based on just an imagination with such kind of larger period of time, dealing with such kind of larger period of time, 10 to the power of 50 years duration, and all that is also having a specified name of the person residing in a particular place with that particular kind of tithi, like Dvadashi tithi, Shravan mas, and particular name of the place, village, etc. You will find each and every scientific evidence which can be the basic framework or basic pramāṇa for identifying that this cannot be myth, because this cannot be based on our imagination only. Even if we as the most intelligent person invest our hundreds of the years in just creating some imaginative literature, then also we cannot be able to create that kind of corpus which is available in Ashtadasha Purāṇāni. And after that also we have so many Upapurāṇas also. And so you can understand this cannot be based on just an imagination. That is why you will find a lot of the references, a lot of the evidences in the narrations itself, which will be able to give you a solid base to accept that this is not the mythology. That is why Purāṇ are dealing with the itihas of the longer period of time, more than 4 yugas, and simple itihas is dealing with the narrations or events which have happened in one Chaturyugi. So, here in the Purāṇas we have the 5 subjects. First subject is creation, Srishti. Second subject is Sanghar. Third is Sthiti. So, Srishti, Sthiti and Sanghar, 3 words are there. Srishti, how it get manifested, how we came into existence, what is the mechanism. Then how we are sustaining, that is sustenance, Sthiti. And then how we are going to be dissolved, that is Sanghar, and after that the concept of the time, that is dealing with the Manvantar. So, Srishti, Sthiti, Sanghar and Manvantar, these are the 4 important subjects, and after that we have the narrations. So, in total we have the 5 subjects in the Purāṇas. That has also been mentioned in the first slide also. After Purāṇ and Itihas we have Nyāya. Nyāya is a system in Ashtadash Vidyasthanani, we have Nyāya. What is Nyāya? Nyāya is not equals to justice. Justice is the one meaning of the word Nyāya. Nyāya is a multi-dimensional word in Sanskrit, and this means logic. Nyāya means logic, and even when we understand the meaning of the Nyāya as justice, then also it is based on some logic. Without any logical evidences, when they are presented in a court, justice can't be done. So, in turn, Nyāya is having the base understanding, that is logic, and the logical exposition which is available to us in directly perceived knowledge other than the Vedic corpus, that is Nyāya Darshan. So, we have Nyāya Darshan. In the next Darshan we have Mimāṁsā, Nyāya Mimāṁsā, Purāṇ, Nyāya and Mimāṁsā. What is Mimāṁsā? If you go through the literal meaning of Mimāṁsā, this means analysis. Analysis, to analyze something, किसी चीज़ की समीक्षा करना, वही मीमांसा है, analysis करना. So, why this darshan came into existence? The need of Mimāṁsā system was at the time when the people were not able to interpret the Vedic corpus. Vedic corpus was, as I told, Vedic corpus is consisting of mantras, and mantra are having highly coded structure in the form of the base sounds, because 2 or more than sounds are joined together to give a complete mantra, and sometimes the people are not able to actually relate that particular sound with a particular meaning. So, dictionary Nirukta came into existence. That is why when we start studying Vedas, first we have to study Vedangas. So, there was a time in our country, in our subcontinent, in our itihas, when the people were not able to actually decode the meaning of the Vedic mantras, and at that time few of the scholars, they made an attempt to link up the Vedic material with their possible interpretations. So, Mimāṁsā is that darshan, is that logical exposition which deals with the interpretation of the Vedic mantras or Vedic statements. So, this is the, here Mimāṁsā deals with the investigation and deliberation into Vedic statements. Whatever Vedic statements are available, what is the actual meaning of them without misrepresenting them, without misquoting them. That is done by the Mimāṁsā scholars. So, it became a complete darshan. Next is Dharmaśāstra. Dharmaśāstra, as I told you, we will understand this Dharmaśāstra because dharma is not equals to religion. We should be very conscious in translating this specified word right now in the current perspective specifically. Dharma means duty. Dharmaśāstra deals with the duties. So, whatever duties we have to perform in our daily life related with individual, related with society, then community, then global and then universal. So, all levels of the duties which are needed to be followed in one's life, they are presented in the form of rules and regulations in the Dharmaśāstra. So, Dharmaśāstra deals with the rules and regulations and the conduct, how to behave. Next is Vārtā. Vārtā is a science of popular usage. There are three sciences which are very popularly in usage. One is agriculture, second is animal care and third is trade. Agriculture, krishi, animal care, husbandry, pashupalan and trade, vyapara. So, these three are jointly together known by the term Vārtā. So, Vārtā are the practically usage based sciences. They are related with agriculture, husbandry and trade. So, you can see that whatever branches, streams right now we are having in different institutions, they are not current perspectives only. They have been in practice for a longer period of time in our culture. Then Kāmasūtra, this as I am going to touch 64 allied sciences with a reference of the Kāmasūtra of Vatsyayan. So, this Shastra, this treatise deals with the sciences which are related with the fulfillment of desires, not only the sexual desires or the worldly desires, desires of all kinds of desires. It is a kind of whatever you want, whatever you wish, that is going to be the how it has to be done, how it needs to be completed, achieved. That is discussed in detail in this Kāmasūtra, and you need to keep in mind that we do not have this only, this is the only corpus which is available. It is not like that we have only one Kāmasūtra. Vatsyayan Kāmasūtra is one of the Kāmasūtra. Apart from it also we had so many of the Kāmasūtras which were explaining us how to fulfill our desires in our whole of the life, and that desire can range from various dimensions. It can be a materialistic desire also, it can be a spiritual desire also. So, all types of possible quests were dealt in the Kāmasūtra. That is why I am going to touch 64 allied sciences with the reference of this Kāmasūtra of Vatsyayan right now. Next is the Śilpaśāstra. Śilpaśāstra is archaeology. Śilpaśāstra, how to create the different kind of structures, archaeology. Daṇḍanīti. Daṇḍanīti is science of governance and punishment both. Danda means punishment, but it deals with the governance also, because until and unless we have a governance, we cannot punish anyone. So, Daṇḍanīti is the science of governance and punishment both. In this way, apart from the Vedic corpus, we are having 8 other ones after 10. That means 4 Vedas, 6 Vedangas, 10 and then 8 other ones, total 18. Ashtadas Vidyasthanani, primary sciences. They were needed to be taught to the disciple. We were trained in that manner Our generations were trained in that manner, where we were trained in these Ashtadash Vidyasthanani, primary sciences, and then also 64 allied sciences. We have been given the basic knowledge of all of them. That's why I told in the first class itself that our generations were trained in complete 64 plus 18 sciences for a very longer period of time. That's why we all have a basic understanding of about everything within us. Knowledge is inside of us, and when we try to recollect it, it will come automatically from inside. We are not in a state, we are not dependent on the outside world to get the knowledge, and that is something which creates a difference. When some people who do not have proper resources, they can also beat a lot of the challenging competitions, a lot of the challenging different types of possible achievements, they can accomplish it. Maybe they are not having this kind of privilege to be the part of NIT, but it's not like they would be nothing in future. तुम कल कुछ नहीं कर पाओगे, ऐसा कुछ नहीं होता. इसीलिए क्योंकि we have knowledge inside of us. We have to identify our own potential to how to channelize that knowledge which is already available to us. Now we are entering into the 64 allied sciences. So one by one I will explain. Wherever you feel difficulty in understanding the word itself, you note it down. First science is Geetam. Geetam, singing. Second is Vadyam, Vadya, that is playing on the musical instruments. Nrityam, dancing. Alekhyam, painting. Then Visheshak Chedyam, Visheshak Chedyam, this is Visheshak, then Chedyam, trimming of the leaves to represent various figures for purpose of wearing on forehead. Now you can remember some tribal dances, dance forms, Manipuri dance, tribal dance, identify, you search it on the internet, you will find that an ornament which is tied up here on the forehead, made of the trimming of the leaves. We don't use artificial jewelry every time. We were fond of using the natural available ornaments like flowers, like leaves, and that's why on the door also we decorate with toran, which is made up of leaves itself, right. So this is Visheshaka Chedyam, trimming of the leaves to represent various figures for the purpose of wearing on forehead. Then Tandul Kusum Bala Vikaraha. Tandul means chawal, rice grains. So arrangement of the rice grains, and kusum means flower. So flowers and grains of different colors, we can color them in some of the colors, and then from that rice grains and flowers we can arrange them in different ways for the purpose of worship. That's why we have the tendency to make a rangoli whenever we are having a workshop, conferences. Why it is auspicious? Because it is representing a kind of Mangalacharan. कोई कार्य शुरू करने से पहले कुछ वर्शिप कर देते हैं, तो उसके लिए हमने क्या किया, रंगोली जो आज बनाते हैं, ये तंडुल कुसुम बल विकारा यही है. This is one of the allied sciences. How to make that kind of artistic expression with rice, colored rice grains and flowers. Then Pushpastaranam. This is covering of the or decorating of a house or a room with the flowers, decoration. Whenever you are having an engagement, birthday party, celebration, etc., you decorate the room with the flowers. We were belonging to the pagan culture, nature worshippers, nature lovers. So we are using each and everything which is available in our nature directly. जो प्रकृति प्रदत्त है, हर उस वस्तु से ही हम अपना डेकोरेशन करते हैं, वही हमारा ऑर्नामेंट है. दैट्स द pagan culture, that's the prakriti pujak sanskriti. So Pushpastaranam is covering or decorating a house or a room with flowers. Then Dashan Vasan Angragaha. Dashan Vasan Angragaha. Dashan Vasan. Vasan means clothes. Ang means body. Dashan means teeth. So applying colors to teeth, body or clothes. That's why we already had natural colors. We didn't need artificial synthetic colors जो आज होली में बहुत आसानी से मिल जाते हैं. So we were not fond of having this kind of artificially created colors. We were having it because we make it from the natural elements which are available, right? Different flowers of different colors. We will dry it up, then we will make the powdery constituent, and then we will use it for the coloring purpose. So all the things which are already available to us, we use them to color the teeth, body, clothes, etc. And they were used to represent in various issues or occasions, like in performing drama, like in celebrating any festival, like in worship also. That's why Darshan, Vasan, Angaragaha is also allied sciences. Then Madi, Bhumika, Karma. Madi means gems, Bhumi means floor. So Madi, Bhumika, Karma is construction of the floors with gems. You can say like a mosaic work. आजकल हम टाइल लगवाते हैं, ये जो काम है ये बहुत पहले से होता था, आज का नहीं है. Madi, Bhumika, Karma. Then Shayana Rachanam, that is making of the beds. Shayana means सोने की जगह का आसन. Shayana, so Shayana Rachanam, making of the beds. Udak Vadyam. Udak means water and Vadya means playing on the water. So as to produce the sound of Muraj. Muraj is drum. आप पानी से ऐसे खेले कि उसमें से sound आए, drum like sound आए. So it's playing on the water as to produce the sound of Muraj or drum. Udak Ghataha. It's striking others with handfuls of water. You are in a swimming pool and you are playing with the water, you are just trying to strike others with the handful of the waters. That is Udak Ghataha. Chitrashva Yogaha, causing others by means of drugs, medicines, invocations, etc. दूसरों को intoxicate करना, ये भी एक कला थी. Why? It's not like everything which is available is only for the good one. Sometimes we need the tricky ones also. If you are in a situation where you have to defend yourself, how will you save yourself? Protection, defense is also a mechanism which was taught to us. Shastra Vidya क्यों सिखाई गई थी? Because we had to defend ourselves also from the enemies. So this is Chitrashva Yoga, where we were trained how to intoxicate others. Malle Grathan Vikalpaha. Malle means garland. So stringing of flowers into garlands in various ways. This is Malle Grathan Vikalpaha. Then Shekhara Pidya Yojanam is Shekharas and Apidikas are the two ornaments. They were worn on the head in their proper place, just like we use pagadi, different types of pagadis. So this is something like that. How to make that pagadi is Shekhar Apidya Yojanam. How to create. Then Nepathya Prayogaha. It's dressing oneself or others. Nepathya is the word which is directly linked with the dramatics. नाट्य में जब हम कोई अभिनय करने जाते हैं तो स्टेज का एक हिस्सा नेपथ्य कहलाता है. And नेपथ्य is that portion on which we start dressing ourselves. Not only oneself, we dress others also. So nepathya prayoga is dressing oneself or the others. Karna Patra Bhangaha, making of ear ornaments. Karna means ear. Karna Patra Bhangaha, it's a making of ear ornaments out of ivory, etc. Any material can be used for making ornaments of the ears. Then Gandha Yuktihi. Gandha Yukti is preparation of perfumes, different types of perfumes. Bhushana Yojanam is making of ornaments, all types of ornaments, not only of the ear, any type of ornaments, bangles, etc. Then Aindrajal Yogaha. Aindra means illusions. इंद्रियों को भ्रमित कर दे जो उसे कहते हैं ऐन्द्र. Aindrajal means a web of illusions. So how to create the web of illusions? That is Aindrajal Yoga, process of producing illusions. Just like you see 3D images of pulsating something on the internet, और आप सोचते हैं कि वो आज की चीज़ है, नहीं. We were practiced enough to create the Aindrajala Yoga. Then Kauchumarashva Yoga. Kauchumarashva Yoga is the prescription for becoming stronger, more virile. Kauchumar means young stage. So, how to utilize different substances for becoming stronger and virile, that is Kauchumara Yoga. Hastalaghavam is readiness of the hands, quickly, type of quickness in doing anything. Like first time you go to the kitchen, you don't know how to make dosa, and after some time of practice, you become so quick to make a lot of dosas within few minutes, right? So, that is the readiness of the hand, quickness in completing the task. Hastalaghavam. Then Vichitra Shak Yusha Bhāṣya Vikar Kriya. Vichitra means different. Shak, vegetables. Shak, Yusha is soups, and Bhāṣya is condiments. So, preparation of different kinds of vegetables, soups and condiments. This is Vichitra Shak Yusha Bhāṣya Vikar Kriya. Vikar Kriya means preparation, the method of preparing them, that is Vichitra Shak Yusha Bhāṣya Vikara Kriya. Then Panak Rasa Asav Yojanam, preparation of different kinds of drinks. Panak means पीने वाला, a kind of drink, any kind of drink, mango drink से लेकर के हर तरह की. So drinks are simple types of drinks which are instantly prepared on the spot, like you are using the lemon, salt and sugar, instantly making a kind of drink, right? And then asav. Asav is like Ashoka Risht. You must know this name, right? Arisht or Ashav. ये दो Ayurvedic preparations हैं. These two things are prepared a lot in our tradition, Asav and Arisht, because they are having medicinal properties. So, preparation of different kind of drinks, ras and asav, etc., that is coming Panak, ras, asav yojanam. Then Suchivan Karmani. This is sewing, weaving, knitting, plaiting, etc. Suchi means needle. So, whatever we do with the needle, that becomes a Suchivan Karmani. Then Sutra Krida. Sutra Krida is playing with the strings, holding a string in the finger and then making it assume the outline of the house or temple. So, Sutra Krida. Then Veeda Damaruk Vadyani, playing on the Veeda, Damaru, a kind of drum, and other musical instruments is Veeda Damaruk Vadyani, how to play them. Prahelika. Prahelika is riddle. Riddle. Harry Potter. Yaad hai riddle. So, Prahelika, we had it in the name of Prahelika. Pratimala. Pratimala, a game where one person recites a shloka, then another follows with one beginning with the last letter of that shloka and so on. What is that? Antakshari. We use the last syllable and then start singing the next song. So, we recited it in the form of shlokas because at that time language was Sanskrit, it was in usage. So, automatically we had the word Pratimala. Then Durvachak Yogaha. Durvachak Yoga is another game. Each participator recites shlokas bristling with the hard syllables. Hard syllables are what? Hard syllables are ta, ta, da, dha, da, because it's hard to pronounce. Not everyone can pronounce it properly. So, hard syllables जहाँ पर restrict कर दी जाते थे वही अंताक्षरी बन जाती थी दुर्वाचक योग. Then Pustak Vachanam is reading of the books. Reading of the books. Pustak Vachanam. We were trained like we have to read the books. Right now we are not able to read the books because we are not being trained to read the books. Natak. Natak Akhyayika Darshanam. Natak Akhyayika. Natak is drama, Akhyayika is story. So, knowledge of that drama and story. This is Natak Akhyayika Darshanam. Then Kavya Samasya Puranam, composition of poetry. Kavya Samasya Puranam. And how to compose that poetry? The last quarter of a shloka being given, last quarter is being given to you. The composition of the first three, giving the whole of a sensible meaning, needs to be done. This was the task. Suppose in a shloka 4 quarters are there. So, last quarter I gave you and you have to fill the rest of the 3. This was Kavya Samasya Puranam, fill in the blanks, right. Then Pattika Vetra Van Vikalpaha, Pattika Vetra Van Vikalpaha, making of different things from canes and reeds. What is cane and what is reed? Cane is bamboo stick, just in which the inside there is an empty space. Reed is also kind of a small planter, just like the bamboo one, from which basuri is created. So, this is Pattika Vetra Van Vikalpa, means making of different things from canes and reeds. So, all kinds of instruments just like basuri were made under this head, Pattika Vetra Van Vikalpaha. Takshakarmadi, Takshakarmadi is cutting and working in gold, steel and wood. Takshakarmadi, cutting and working in gold, steel and wood. तीनों चीज़ें अलग अलग आज हम देख रहे हैं. स्टील प्लांट अलग है, गोल्ड ज्वेलरीज जो शॉप्स अलग से हैं और वुड अलग है, लेकिन यहाँ क्या है, एक ही है. तक्षकर्माणि is a single one which is representing cutting and working in gold, steel and wood. Then takshanam, takshanam, takshanam is carpentry, directly related with the wood only, carpentry. There is a difference, याद रखिएगा. Remember, if you have been, you be asked like difference between takshakarmadi and takshanam. So takshakarmadi is a grand one, incorporates gold, steel and wood, all of them. And takshanam is only restricted with the wood, that is carpentry. Vastu Vidya, Vastu Vidya is the science of the house, how to create the houses, how houses should be built, and on what types of sites it should be built and with what kind of material it should be built. तीनों चीज़ें वास्तु विद्या. Then Rupya Ratna Pariksha. Rupya is precious stones and coins. Rupya means coin, because we had in our system we never had this kind of note. जो आज हम note देखते हैं, rupee note of the of a kind of ये जो paper style of note है, that was not available to us. In our system we had coins all the time. In all the dynasties we had coins. So rupya, the currency was based on was in the form of coins. And then ratna means stones, precious stones. So rupya ratna pariksha is testing. Pariksha means testing, how to test the precious stones and coins. That is rupya ratna pariksha. Then Dhatuvadaha is the combination, purification, precipitation of the minerals. Which branch of engineering right now deals with this kind of work? Metallurgy. So Dhatuvadaha is the original allied sciences. We had it in the name of Dhatuvada, the combination, purification, precipitation of the minerals. Madi Rag Akar Jnanam. Madi Rag Akar Jnanam. Knowledge of the processes of dyeing the crystals. Madi means crystal, precious stone. Rag means coloring, so dyeing. And then Akar Jnanam, precious stones and crystals, and the knowledge of the process of dyeing them becomes Madi Rag Akar Jnanam. And of the location and working in the mines, because it is a branch which is directly linked with which branch? Mining. So Madi Rag Akar Jnanam is related with that dyeing of the crystals, precious stones, and also of the location and working on the mines. Then next is Vriksha Ayurveda Yoga. Vriksha Ayurveda Yoga, Bahuvachan. Medicines for the plants. We didn't have Ayurveda for only human beings. We have Ayurveda for plants also, for animals also. So Vriksha Ayurveda Yoga, medicines for the plants, knowledge of the processes of making for the trees and plants healthy and sound, and for making them abnormally small and big. Bonsai preparation is not a new tradition. We had it, Vriksha Ayurveda Yoga. Then Mesh Kukkut Lavak Yuddha Vidhi, making rams, cocks, lavakas fight, like bullfight, buffalo fights. These are in tradition. So, this is making the rams, cocks and lavakas to fight, Mesh Kukkut Lavak Yuddha Vidhi. Then Sukha Sarika Pralapanam, we were teaching male and female parrots to speak the words, to imitate the human language. For what purpose? For what purpose? Possible purpose. They were messengers. वो दूत थे किसी और की सूचना हम तक पहुंचाने के लिए, because they can imitate the human language. We trained them to give us the information. We were not, so not only the human beings were trained for the defense, we trained a lot of the other ones also for the defense purposes. Then Utsadane, Samvahane, Kshemamardane cha Kaushalam, proficiency in messaging the head and the body with the hands and feet. So, Utsadane, Samvahane, Kshemamardane cha Kaushalam. Kaushalam means skill in what? Utsadan, Samvahan, Kshemamardan. That means head, body, massaging the head, body and the with the hands and feet both. Then Akshar Mushtika Kathanam. Akshar Mushtika Kathanam, finding out meaning of groups of letters. A lot of groups of letters are being given to you, then you have to find out the possible meaning. क्या है ये आज का? Puzzle, you have to create the word. You are given so many letters randomly and then you have to create the possible word. That is Akshar Mushtika Kathanam. Then Mlekshit Vikalpaha. Mlekshit Vikalpa is the variety of the cipher languages. Language which are unintelligible to all except the initiated ones. The first one who initiated them, they only know it. Rest of the persons are not knowing that. That is known as Mlekshit Vikalpaha. And then Desh Bhāṣa Vidyanam, that is knowledge of the languages of various countries. So, we were knowing so many languages, not only within our own subcontinent, we were knowing the languages of other ones also. So, at the time of when we were having this knowledge of the Sanskrit also, then we were having all the knowledge of the Persian also, Greek, Latin, so many manuscripts are available of those languages also. So, Desh Bhāṣa Vidyanam was already in habit of getting trained. So, we were trained in all these things also. Pushpa Shakatika. Shakatika means card, Shakatika. On the basis of this term itself, we have one text, that is Mrikshakatikam, and Shakatika means cart. So, Pushpa Shakatika means cart of the flowers. So, cart of flowers, making carts, horses, elephants, etc. of the flowers. This is Pushpa Shakatika. Then Nimitta Jnanam. Nimitta Jnanam is knowledge of good and bad causes. Whatever possible causes are there, good or bad, that is Nimitta Jnana. Then Yantra Matrika is construction of machines for locomotion. Which branch of engineering deals with this one? Which branch? कौन सी? Mechanical. So, Yantra Matrika is the allied sciences. Then Dharana Matrika is science of remembering things, holding clothes and other things in hands. So, remembering things, yeah, and this is very important. Dharana Matrika is in allied sciences. That is why in the first lecture I told you, my course is not going to serve you the purpose to get the degree only. You have to retain it. Retaining capacity is very important. You have to retain it for the whole of your life, then only it is going to serve the real purpose. So, Dharana Matrika was the science of remembering the things. Then Sampathyam, a game, one person recites a shloka which is unknown to another and who however has to repeat it after him. So, whatever I am saying, I will say you repeat the sentence immediately. What is going to happen with this kind of exercise? Your reflexes become very strong because you become very concentrate to listen to the things which are being said and then you have to repeat it again. So, in turn your reflex mechanism gets very strong, that is why it is sampathyam. Then Manasi. Manasi is another game where one person writes a shloka with an anuswar and visarga as they are, but with crosses in place of other letters, and the other player has to write the correct letters in place of crosses. So, visarga and anuswar are written in an opposite way and crosses are marked. Now, you have to correct them. So, Manasi is a kind of mental exercise to correct the things. So, Manasi is also one of the thing. This is after this Kavikriya. Kavikriya is composing poems instantly, like here in the class itself we practice it, how to compose the poem, that is Kavikriya. Then Abhidhan Kosha, Chando Vigyanam. Abhidhan means lexicon and Chand means metrics. So, knowledge of the lexicons and metrics. This is Abhidhan Kosh Chando Vijyanam. Then Kriya Kalpaha. Kriya Kalpaha is Kavya and Alankar, knowledge of the Kavya and Alankar, knowledge of the creative literature, and then Alankar means ornaments of that literature, how to represent beautifully something. That's why I told you Vādi is a determining factor whether you will get your things done or not. And there is a very popular saying in Sanskrit that Vādi can destroy the things also, or Vādi can win the things also. In front of a king, if you are able to use your Vādi cleverly, beautifully, so that the king can be convinced or the authority can be convinced, you won't face difficulties for getting your things done. But if you are not clever enough to, or you are not skilled enough to use your Vādi properly in front of the persons, you will lose or you won't get required benefits. So, this is Kriya Kalpaha. Then Chalitak Yoga. Chalitak, Chal means a kind of deception. So, processes of deception, disguising the person and voice so as not to be recognized or so as to pass for another, जिससे आप पहचाने ना जा सकें. This kind of chalitak yoga, dressing in someone else's identity, disguising of in someone else's identity, and this was all, given, kings were trained in this kind of allied sciences a lot, because they have to know the reality of their own rajya or samrajya. In order to check that reality, they need to have this kind of skill, how to dress in disguise, right. So, this is Chalita Yoga. Vastra Gopanani is hiding of dresses, deceptions as to dress. Chupa dena, Vastra chupa dena. Who is popularly known for this kind of krida? Krishna. So, that is Vastra Gopanani. Dyutta Visheshaha is varieties of gambling. This is also a skill, varieties of gambling. When if in some of the lectures I will get time, I will address with reference of Arthashastra of Kautilya. Specifically, Kautilya mentions that there are so many ways of gambling, but he laid down the rules in that way that whatever method you practice, there will be zero benefit. And if there is zero benefit, nobody will step for gambling. That was the cleverness of governance. He is mentioning the methods how to implement that kind of rule. So, because you cannot stop gambling, but how to stop it, how to make people not to go for it, he created that part very cleverly. Because if there is no benefit, nobody would go for it. So, automatically that kind of things are discussed in Arthashastra. Akarsh Krida. Akarsh Krida is a particular kind of gambling with dice, which was used in Mahabharata. So, Akarsh Krida. Then Bal Krida. Bal Krida is games for children. Bal Krida. Vainaiki Nam Vidya Nama Jnanam. Vainaiki is the knowledge of the sciences and arts which educate the person. That kind of knowledge which educate the person. Then Vaijayiki Nama Vidya Nama Jnanam. Vaijayiki means Vijay. So, knowledge of that kind of sciences which confer the victory. And then Vyayamiki Nama Vidya Nama Jnanam. Vyayamiki means the sciences which is connected with physical exercises. that is swimming, wrestling, etc. So, this is you can see this is how we had 64 allied sciences. Vainayiki, Vaijayiki, Vyayamiki. Vyayam means exercises, physical exercises. So, 64 allied sciences which are listed and available to us in the Kāmasūtra of Vāda, and these are presented to you right now. Apart from this also, I told you that the number goes on, crosses 104 also. So, we had so many of the other sciences as a skill based techniques, and we were trained in that. And the only difference which comes to us is our natural inclination, because we were habituated for in practice with that kind of particular task. So, we are all we feel comfortable in doing some kind of things automatically, that is our natural inclination. So, after this 64 allied sciences, there are few things which we will just discuss. This is important because we are dealing with the Indian knowledge systems, and Indian knowledge system comes from the Indian knowledge tradition. So, in Indian knowledge tradition, there is a speciality, or you can say if somebody asks you, tell me two specification of Indian knowledge tradition, then there are two specifications. One is Shruti Parampara, oral tradition, oral dissemination of knowledge, Shruti Parampara. Second is Vāda Parampara. That for that purpose, Vāda Parampara, what is Vāda Parampara? I am going to explain this thing, this slide. The types of Kathā or arguments on which Tarka is based. Tarka is logic, and argument, Kathā word is representing here argument. Kathā is also a multidimensional term, it represents a lot of meanings like a story, etc. But here Kathā is mentioning argument. And if we go through the Indian corpus, we find that there are three possible ways. One is Vāda, second is Jalpa, third is Vitaṇḍā. So, we will start from the lowest one, that is Vitaṇḍā. Whenever there is a debate, so Jalpa is that kind of debate or disputation which is adopted to gain victory over the opponent. Suppose in a language laboratory or in a class, I give you a topic for discussion in the class itself, and I create two groups. They start discussing or debating on the same topic. Each group will try to gain victory over the other, irrespective of the thinking that whether they are putting the right arguments or not. Either it is either they are putting Tarka, or they are doing Vitarka, or they are putting Kutarka. So, with Jalpa is that kind of thing in which only victory is important. So, the definition of Vitaṇḍā is Swapakshasya aparigrahitri parapakshasya dushayitri. That means without leaving your own side, you are constantly adamant to make the other's side impure. Doesn't matter the way of doing it is right or not. So, simple. You want to dushit, you want to make impure, improper, you want to prove the other's side improper just by putting some or the other Tarka, and the only target of yours is to get the victory over the opponent. That becomes Vitaṇḍā. Second is Jalpa, that is Jalpa. I think the numbering is changed in the slides. So, that is Vitaṇḍā, whatever I am telling you, that is Vitaṇḍā. Second is Jalpaha, Vijigishaha Swapaksha Siddhaye, Chala Jati Nigraha Adi Parigraha Jalpaha. This is the definition of Jalpa. Vijigisha Swapaksha Siddhaye. In order to prove your Paksha, Swapaksha Siddhi, in order to prove your side, you take the support of Chala, etc. So many words, Chala Jati Nigraha Adi. So, this is a kind of a Jalpa, where you take the support of malicious types of evidences. Doesn't matter that evidence is false or not, or real it's not. So, you are taking the support of some kind of ugly discussions or ugly arguments which are not to be used. that becomes Jalpa. And the first one is saying Madhyasthayo tattva avabodhaye vastu tattva paramarsho Vāda. Vāda is what? When we actually use a kind of madhyasth where you want to bring out the truth. Tattva avabodhaye. Tattva means whatever truth is, that is tattva. Avabodhaye means to know or to enlighten that tattva or to enlighten that truth. So, in order to enlighten that truth or to bring out that particular kind of truth with the help of some madhyasth, you try to discuss the things. That becomes Vāda. So, first is the exposition to explore the truth or the reality, and this is the second character of the second characteristics or the, you can say, second specification of Indian knowledge tradition. We debated, but in order to bring out the truth, and that was not to gain the victory, neither to gain the victory on the opponent side, nor to use the fallacious arguments in order to disprove other side. So, leaving the two negative ways of discussion, we tried to bring out the reality in a kind of discussion or debate. That was the second character or specification of Indian knowledge tradition. So, Indian knowledge tradition has two basic characteristics. One is Shruti Parampara, second is Vāda Parampara. After this, we have just need to have this understanding of styles of the Shastra. What are the possible styles of the writing of the Shastra, because I told the 6 modes of classification. So, in order to create the Shastra, these are the 9 possible styles which are used in different texts. First is the Sūtra style, which I told you, just like a plus b square is the precise one. So, the definition of the Sūtra is Alpaksharam asandigdham. Here asandigdham, then sarvad vishvato mukham, then astobham anavadyam cha sutram sutra vido viduhu. This is the definition. Now, from the last we will start the meaning. Sutra vido means the one who knows the sutra. Sutra vid. Sutra vid वो है जो सूत्र को जानता है. So, the one who knows the sutra, they say what? They say that alpa akshar, that means very few words, alpa aksharam. Asandigdham, that means free from ambiguity, कोई doubt नहीं होना चाहिए, no confusion, no doubts. So, alpaksharam asandigdham, statements containing very few words, free from ambiguity. Then sarvad means very concise, representing the summary, sarvad representing the essence. Then avishvato means devoid of superfluity. Vishwa means होता है सब जगह फैल जाना, that means expanded version. And avishwa, we negated it, that means it should be restricted to specified work or task. So, devoid of superfluity is avishvatah. Then astobham means it's meaningful, and anavadyam cha, anavadyam is far reaching in its implications, that is the character of a sutra. So, the one who know the sutras, they define that what is sutra. Sutra are the statements which contain few words, they are free from ambiguity, they are concise, they are devoid of superfluity, they are meaningful, and they are far reaching in its implications. Second is Vṛtti. Vṛtti is Sūtraṇām sakal sāra vivaranam Vṛtti. Sakal is all, sakal means all, sar means essence or summary, and vivaran means description. So, any kind of description which is available in on the specified sutra. Suppose when you are doing this sutra a plus b whole square. So, in the beginning when you learned the first time this sutra, you were not knowing what does it mean. So, there would be some kind of description on that this means this. So, that description on the sutra itself becomes a Vṛtti. This is Sūtraṇām sakalasāra vivaranam Vṛtti. A commentary outlining the substance of a sutra is Vṛtti. Third is Paddhati, Sutra Vṛtti Vivechanam Paddhati. Now, whatever is mentioned in the Vṛtti, उसका भी विवेचन करना, that means discussion of that Vṛtti of the Sutra becomes a paddhati. Third one is Bhāṣya. Akshipya bhāṣanād bhāṣyam, a learned commentary on an original work. Like you created a poetry, you took it to your supervisor, because your supervisor is more intelligent or more experienced, more knowledgeable person, more learned person than you, then he wrote a bhāṣya on that particular kind of poetry. So that becomes akshipya bhāṣanād bhāṣyam. So that is bhāṣya, our learned commentary on a particular original work. Samiksha, antarbhāṣyam samiksha, a close investigation of deeper meaning of a bhāṣya. Now he wrote the commentary, he wrote a learned commentary, and on that another person investigated very closely. So that becomes samiksha, and again the analysis is being done. So you can see how many times the same thing is going to be analyzed. And then Ṭīkā, yatha sambhavam arthasya tīkanam ṭīkā. Suppose there is a work, tantra, lok, and some other works are also there, like in Kāmasūtra we have so many texts which are still untranslated. Nobody is available to translate them. So the first one who will try to attempt that, make a translation available to anyone, that will be yatha sambhavam arthasya. As per my capacity, I translated it. So yatha sambhavam artham, a simplified gloss or a commentary on any work becomes Ṭīkā. So that person will write a Ṭīkā. Then Panjika, Visham Pad Bhanjika is Panjika, a running commentary which explains and analyzes difficult words. Visham means difficult, Pad means words. So a kind of running commentary which explains and analyzes difficult words is Panjika. And Karika is Artha Pradarshan Karika, is Karika. Simplified meaning of a sutra which can be summarized in a verse is called Karika. Simplified meaning of a sutra. That is why I told you that we have sutra style of writing in Patanjali Yoga, or in Mahabhāṣya of Patanjali we have sutra style, Atha Yoga Anushāsanam. This is Patanjali Yoga Sutra, first sutra. In the same way, in Mahabhāṣya, Atha Shabdanam Anushāsanam, Kesham Shabdanam, Vedikanam, Laukikanam cha. This is a sutra style. And in Vakyapadiyam I told you that this is Karika. This is Karika. So Karika is a simplified meaning of a sutra which is in comparison to the sutra, it is expanded one. So it is a simplified meaning of a sutra, and it can be summarized in a verse. That is why it becomes a Karika. And last is Vārtik. Vārtik is an exposition of Ukta, Anukta and Durukta of a sutra is called Vārtik. And what is Ukta? Ukta means what is said. Just like I said so many things, it is Ukta. What I did not say, that means whatever has not been said. So Anukta. And what is difficult to be said, that is Durukta. So Ukta, Anukta and Durukta. Chinta, that means exposition, discussion on these kind of aspects which are being said, which have not been said, or which are difficult to be said. That is becoming Vārtik. So these are the possible styles we have in Indian corpus to compose or to create a composition. So for this lecture, this is sufficient. Thank you.